Hello. Hi, Kerry.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Backpack Show, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Earlier
Michelle.
in the week, we went sausage with Ralph C. Stair. Today we're going plants with Seth Goldman.
It's very interesting juxtaposition.
Yes. I'll tell you, I like both on different days. I'm not an entirely plant-based eater, but if you look at some of the stuff on the menu of Plant Burger, I'm already super hungry.
Did you see last night Chloe Forbes Kindlin was live?
I caught her live on the Kerry some other guy show, Kerry Perry show or something.
She's cheating on us.
Yeah, what a great interview too.
Smart. She's so smart.
Hats off to Michelle for pointing that out.
Chloe Forbes Kindlin, go do that.
Yeah.
Just Squarespace master. And then branding.
Once our bellies are full of plant-based sandwiches, we're gonna learn some yoga probably.
I am terrible at yoga because I don't have any patience. I mean, I should probably make myself do it to learn patience. We can talk with Malik Khalid about that. Khalid.
Malik Khalid is my fault.
It is. I told you.
You said
he's the founder of Amador Yoga. So we're going to talk to him. It's an activewear brand, and his mission, we can talk to him about this too, is to make yoga more representative so that people of color and different types of people,
gender diverse,
see themselves doing yoga, so it's not just like a privileged suburban white person thing. Although I am a suburban white person and I can't I'm terrible at it. I have no flexibility at all.
Well, maybe he'll bend you to his will.
Hi everyone, Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, welcoming you to The Backpack Show. Your hosts, Chris Brogan, Kerry Gorgone, Boom Shakalaka.
Backpack Show.
There's a guy who can't do yoga. Tim Kitzrow doing yoga.
He would not be allowed anywhere near a yoga studio.
No.
Tim, chill.
So Seth, talk about Seth.
Seth Goldman and I first ever connected right as he released a graphic novel with his co-founder of Honest Tea. If you've ever drank an incredibly delicious bottle of Honest Tea, then you've had some of Seth's handiwork. Seth's book, which I'm absolutely not going to remember, Sailing on a Sea of Cheese or something, he'll tell us. Seth's book was a graphic novel, number one. So if you ever want to watch an incredible founder story that starts with the good times, but then also the most ominous thing in the world, Coke wants to buy us. Now what? We're people of the people. We have this incredibly heartfelt, loving, we're all organic and everyone loves our little gee whiz granola bar selves. And mighty demon Coke wants us. Now what do we do?
Oh,
well, you know what you do? You talk to Seth and you ask him that first before you ask him about the other 7 businesses.
Hey, but his book is Mission in a Bottle, The Honest Guide to Doing Business Differently and Succeeding.
Sailing on a Sea of Cheese, Primus, I think.
Stop saying the wrong thing. I remember the wrong thing when you say it.
Mission in a Bottle. All right, let's get Seth. You don't have to sing with us anymore.
Or at all. It's totally okay.
Morning, guys.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
That was
good.
It was a mighty fine book because
A Sea of Cheese.
Sailing on a Sea of Cheese, very close to Mission
intolerant, so that would be a very turbulent.
Plant-based cheese, obviously.
Yeah. Plant-based cheese really, just hasn't gotten there for a lot of people, but
it's still a work in progress.
They're still trying. I'll give them some points. The first thing I want to start with is that, though, because I am so stunned that you didn't take your Coke money and go make a yacht to sail on a different sea. What happens there? What happens when you sell Honest and everything goes well and you stick around for whatever you had to stick around for? What makes you go, I think I still need to make some more companies or run some companies because there's another one in between?
Yeah, well, and for the record, I stuck around way longer than I was required to stick around through 2011. And I wrapped up my time with the Coca-Cola company and Honest Tea in 2019. So I way overstayed. And the reason I overstayed was because one, it was still really fun. 2, we were still building something, and we took it from, when Coke first invested, we were at about 23 million in sales. And when I left, we were over 260 million in sales. So we really, scaled the business, and we got it into all types of places that I had always dreamed of, places like McDonald's and Subway and Chick-fil-A and Wendy's, kind of places where when you talk about democratizing organic, I had always hoped we would go. And so, And frankly, the brand was still, and is still, even post me, still stands for what I wanted it to stand for: organic, lower calorie, fair trade. And so it was more, I left because I felt the urge to create new things, not because I was in any way frustrated or disappointed with how it was going.
Which is, a place of power, right? I mean, it's you feel great, everything's swell. You show up to work, you're not dragging like sometimes a founder feels like when they're inside the quote unquote evil empire. And it turned out it wasn't like that, and that's another good part of the story. So here's the book that I absolutely
there you go.
Mission in a Bottle. It's a graphic novel, so you got to read it. It's just get in, read
it. Makes it much more readable. Frankly, as the father of a dyslexic, we just loved having a story that was accessible. You talk about accessibility to more people, and making it a comic book really did make it that way.
Works great that way. Richard Branson, also a dyslexic, so I always point him out. He can run 400 companies and has a little trouble with his sentences. Let's go with it, right?
Yeah, just because it makes you a little bit of a slow reader, from what I understand. It doesn't make you any less intelligent. Mistake our education system makes.
You finish up with that in 2019. Somewhere along the road, someone says, "Hey, you ought to come also run Beyond Meat."
Well, that was a fun one. So that my oldest son, the one who's dyslexic, was he converted our whole family to be vegetarians back in 2003, 2015, I guess, and something like 2005. And we're always happy with that decision from a ethical perspective, but we were often disappointed from a culinary perspective. We would buy veggie burgers and just be like, oh man, we're getting the booby prize. Like, everyone's eating those juicy burgers or steak, and we're sitting here with these, hockey pucks that just dried out. And so my wife read this article about a company getting started out in California called Beyond Meat that was trying to replicate the taste and texture of meat using plants. And so I said, boy, that sounds like such a worthy endeavor. I'd love to see if I can help them. And so I did. I sent an email to info@beyondmeat.com, said, if there's any way I can help, I love what you're trying to do. And they welcomed the help, and I got involved as an investor and then a board member, and then took on the role of executive chair, where I really was the partner with the founder, Ethan Brown, and helped grow the business and helped steer as we scaled it and took it public. And I'm now chair of the board of Beyond Meat, and so proud of Ethan, proud of the company, and what it's accomplishing, and still has yet to accomplish. But what an exciting time we're all living through, where we are transforming our definition of meat. Chris, the last time you and I spoke, meat just meant protein from an animal, and today it really is something way beyond that. And you see here with pizza, thinking about plant-based meat is a thing now, and it's something that a lot of people, including restaurants like Pizza Hut, are adopting.
That's the exciting part to me, I think, is that when people are trying to convince or convert people to plant-based, there's always that sort of feeling like, I'll never be able to go to a normal restaurant again, or I'll whatever, or I'm gonna eat salad the rest of my life. This blows.
I know you'll have that sad like black bean burger that every restaurant has. It's terrible.
Well, and it's so, think about change, right? Like, so going back even to when you and I spoke, you couldn't go to a fast food restaurant and get an organic product, and now you can, like Honest Kids. And then to be able to go to a fast food restaurant and get a plant-based protein. So these things, change. It's very easy to be frustrated with change, but when you put it in even just a 10-year time frame, you realize a lot has happened, and a lot more has yet to come. But this is an exciting time for so many reasons, but there really are some profound changes happening, and we will look back and say, this happened in my lifetime.
Do you get in some of the fist fights that all the nut-based milk companies get in by calling it Beyond Meat? Do they get into that? This isn't meat. Do you have that fight a lot?
Yeah, that's an industry. I would say we're not the ones provoking the fight. Those are established industries trying to protect themselves. But look, anyone who tastes our product with a blindfold on would say it's meat. They may not say it's meat from an animal, and we wouldn't either. As long as we're clear about that, the definition, what we're really doing is redefining meat not by its origin but by its composition. So instead of saying meat is protein from an animal. If you say meat is an assembly of amino acids that make the proteins and lipids that form the fats, 70% water and some trace mineral and carbohydrates, what we're offering is definitely meat.
And Beyond is one of 2, maybe 3 burgers that when you eat it, you like go, that's okay. Like
Yeah, you put it on the grill and it sizzles and it gives off an aroma, and none of that happened with those veggie burgers of the past.
But from an ecological perspective, like what makes it better?
Oh my gosh, so it's dramatic. And the University of Michigan did a life cycle analysis. So in contrast to a beef burger, a burger from a cow, the Beyond Burger uses 99% less water, 93% less land, and creates 90% fewer greenhouse gases. And so you're talking about transformational change if we can shift a significant part of the diet toward plant-based protein, all of a sudden you don't have to cut down as many rainforests to create cropland for cows. And it actually becomes viable for us to be able to feed the world without having to resort to such a energy dependent, resource dependent system.
No, you should just call it diet stuff, because people eat really gross diet stuff. I'd be happy to have really good diet stuff, and then everybody would eat this stuff, and the world would magically get better.
Health benefits. It just we always have to stress taste though, because most people here, even including me, when you think about those veggie burgers of the past, you hear that and you think that was a sacrifice. And so what's so neat is here you don't. This isn't.
If you call it diet, it's supposed to be awful, and so then people are like, "Oh, this is really good."
Well, listen, don't give him any ideas, because he's running, Honest for a while. He sticks around way too long. That's what people were saying. But then he runs Beyond, and next thing you know, he opens up a whole other scenario, and he goes from I thought I had this cued and I totally didn't, because I blow as a producer. And then
you guys got a lot in your hands, by the way. You're in the media and you're talking and
plant burger, right?
Yeah.
So now, you decide I'm going to go, take the show on the road, and it's not just Beyond Patties. There's a really cool looking mushroom chicken thing. These blooms have to go in my belly.
They're amazing. It's so fun. So this one came to me. I was on a panel a few years ago with a chef named Spike Mendelsohn. He was from Top Chef. And I always do when I'm with a potential customer, I snuck some, product under his chair. I gave him a cooler bag of Beyond Burgers and Honest Tea.
That looks sketchy as hell. You're like,
oh yeah. And he loved the burgers, and I didn't know this, but his wife was vegan, and so he brought those home. He said, "These are amazing. We gotta launch a business with this." And I'm like, I don't know about restaurants, but I'm always open to trying. And what we did is we first launched it inside of Whole Foods, because that way you don't have to take on a lease and all the other risks there. And it just started getting a wonderful response. So we, over the past year, which as you know has been a challenging year for many businesses, we've opened up 7 of those plant burgers, and they're just really delicious food. And all of a sudden, I hadn't set foot in a burger restaurant as a vegetarian for at least 10, 15 years. And so now all of a sudden we can enjoy those foods. And not everybody understands it's plant-based. I mean, it says it, but some people just say it's just a great tasting burger. And there's a fun story with that we call it the crispy chicken fungi. It's actually a fruiting body of an oyster mushroom. We were at a mushroom farm, Spike and I, and we saw them taking this, what looked like a softball, which was the fruiting part. It's like the root ball of a mushroom, and they were putting it in a compost bin. And we said, wait a minute, can't we do something with that? And they said, well, yeah, if you slice it up and blanch it, you can make it into. And so that's what our chicken sandwich, and we call it the crispy chicken fungi. And it's delicious.
You're reminding me of, I'm a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, and there was this big scandal when it turned out she worked at the Double Meat Palace, and it turned out the Double Meat Palace was actually plant-based.
Oh,
but it was
really?
Yes.
So that was like their secret, was that they were selling meat, but it
was actually the No Meat Palace. Yeah, but everybody loved it.
Yeah.
This is a good turn in the story too, because I think about this all the time, but when plant-based meats come around, like suddenly jackfruit becomes pulled pork, and I just want to know which scientists are out there going, peas, they're not pulled pork. And they're like working their way through a bunch of veggies, and mushrooms are about to have their day in a bigger way. People are starting to learn, and they're learning so much about it now.
Yeah.
So because you can't sit still because you're a weirdo, you launch Eat the Change.
You know,
make
you're
a
no
bunch of
position to
mushroom
judge,
jerky.
by the way.
I'm ordering it. That's all I'm
I
going to tell you.
I take it as a compliment from you, Chris.
All right.
Exactly. The freak shall inherit the earth. That's what I say. So now you have mushroom jerky because why not?
Yeah, well, exactly. So yeah, we were learning about mushrooms, and we realized that they're these. First of all, they do, as you said, have incredible not just health properties but environmental properties. They grow on waste, on compost. They are have there's an amazing role they play in the environment. So mushrooms aren't plants, and they're not animals. They're actually a third category all to themselves, and so they are this kind of interconnected piece. And so what happens is when you use them in food, they're like a blank canvas. You can paint any flavor on it you wish. And so, partnering with Spike again, we created this line of mushroom jerky. And the brand that we chose is Eat the Change, which is really the call to action to think about what you eat and how it impacts the environment. And so these are planet-friendly foods. Everything's organic. We're using a lot of upcycled. Most of the mushrooms we're using would not make it to the retail shelf, either because they're too big or too small, or the stems. And in mushroom jerky, they work perfectly deliciously. And so we just launched this line. It's available on our website at Eat the Change, and then we're going to be going into stores early next year.
So you've got flavors. I just want to read the flavors to people because it's small on our screen. Sea salt and cracked pepper, hickory smokehouse, maple mustard, teriyaki ginger, which sounds astounding, and habanero barbecue for the hot lovers, which is sold out, by the way. So clearly that's the party favorite. Is that what happened?
So that's the one that Chris will be asking you to send him.
We will do that.
Is that the party favorite, I guess, or you just made a smaller batch because you didn't know how it was going to go?
It's literally, we're making it and selling it as quickly as we can. So that was the one that's in the last rotation of being made, but it'll be available should be available by next week.
So with fungi, with mushrooms, you tapped on this, and I just want to go back around. It's ridiculously easy to grow.
Yeah.
Or is it?
Well, it grows on its own, as you'll see in your yard, but to cultivate it actually takes quite a bit of expertise. And we source ours from Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, which happens to be the mushroom capital of the world. And if you knew that, 61% of all mushrooms sold in the United States come out of this one township in Pennsylvania. And they grow they grow them inside of houses, because while they grow in nature, you can't really cultivate them that way. And you need all the same sort of humidity and soil and air conditions. So they grow them in these houses in multi-layered things, but they bring in the dirt, they bring in the compost. It's a wild thing to see, and really very extremely resource efficient. It takes some expertise. We're trying to grow some mushrooms here, but it isn't as easy as it sounds.
Well, I am a master, because after it rains,
there you go.
Kind of mushrooms.
You're just not sure which ones you can eat out in nature. That's the only thing to be careful of.
That's true. I wouldn't try. Don't worry. I'm not going to go out there.
No, sadly, they had to cancel their mushroom festival this year, but you should know that they take it pretty seriously. The Kennett Mushroom Festival.
Oh, yeah.
$3 a ticket, by the way. So you really can't get better pricing on an event like that.
I love that kind of stuff, actually. I'm such a dork. I would totally go. Like, I also want to go to Punxsutawney for Groundhog Day someday. It's on my bucket list.
Seth, I'm scared to death to ask this question, but do you already have like 3 other businesses you think you want to build?
No, what's neat about this one is it's really a platform. So Eat the Change, as I said, is all about, it's both a call to action, creating awareness, and then bringing the product. So we're going to have a lot of product lines under this umbrella. And in a sense, Plant Burger is part of the same umbrella. It's just, a different form of delivery. I don't anticipate launching an additional one here. This is just more bringing out a variety of products under the Eat the Change umbrella. And we even have an activist piece. We have a nonprofit part where we've been funding nonprofit organizations that are doing the same work, helping awaken awareness in their community and promoting plant-based and planet-based diets to people.
So we do have to move on. I just have one last question because someone's going to want to know this. I only know Spike through, watching him on screen. You're a pretty gregarious guy as it is, but he's high energy. What's that been like as a partner?
It's so fun. We're having a blast. It's neat because, we only met 3 years ago, and I don't know, at least in my world, you don't make too many new friends later in life. And so we've just had so much fun getting to know each other, and his role in the company is so different. I'm very much, trying to run the business, and he's always interested in the business, but he's the creative chef. And so he's in the kitchen, and yesterday he made something, and I guess I can share it. It's not confidential. He took a banana and he made it into a jerky. He made it into the skin. He made into a bacon. The sort of innards of it, he made into a curry paste. I'm like, that I've never tasted a banana like that in any. Yeah. So it was just so wonderful and fun, and yeah, it's really neat to be a partner with him and see the world through a whole different lens.
I have 1,000 more things, but you're gonna have to stick around. We have a little bit.
I'm happy to stick around.
We get
a little bit. Banana, anything banana. I'm here for this.
This is so good. Seth Goldman, stick around. See you in a minute. Boop. I don't know. We caught Katrina's comment about mushrooms being the largest living thing. I was like getting the transition ready.
I don't know. After lockdown, I might be the largest living thing on this earth.
I want plant burger blooms so bad, and I absolutely know that they're not going to like survive a mailing. So I'm going to have to get.
No, you want that one flavor of jerky that's sold out. Like I know you.
Always the thing you can't have. We covet what we don't have. Darling.
So fun thing about banana, I worked at a bakery, and I started at like 13 as a dishwasher and eventually had like every job in the place. But my favorite job was washing out the buckets of banana puree. They would like keep the buckets of all different things and use them for storage or whatever. And I was like, this is the best.
Because you liked it. I was going to say, sometimes there's things that you love that when you're around them in a work capacity.
Oh, no, I love it.
The game is over. All right. We got to do a couple ads, and then we got to get our man Malik Khalid. Stick around for Malik. We're going to learn about a really cool clothing line. Remember, we're all in lockdown. You want to wear yoga clothes. Absolutely. Sit put. I want to know about this. All right. We're sponsored by StreamYard. You can make your own show. Now, you're not going to get Seth Goldman on your show. Let's be serious. But you can get some other people. Maybe people who make.
Seems like a very nice fellow. I bet he would like to go on your show.
A very nice guy, and he's done a million interviews. But come on, you've got to start at the bottom. So see Brogan.me/streamer. Start now.
Talk about yoga. If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, you get Malik. I mean,
running the show.
A busy schedule.
Running the show is the easy part. With StreamYard, it's the
StreamYard. See Brogan.me/StreamYard. Also making the world a little better because you don't have to get on a plane to watch a show like this. You can do it right on your butt parts.
You can indeed.
Authors like Seth Goldman, if you wanted to make a little website to sell and promote your book, you could use PubSite. It's super easy, super fast. pub-site.com. This thing is amazing. You can make a site in about 2 hours or less, even if you know nothing much about making a website. And the only problem with it is it's ultra expensive.
It is not. Stop it. There's a 14-day totally free trial. You can mess around with it, see how easy it is. After that, it's $19.99 a month. And that's if you want to do it yourself, which you should because it's easy. But if you don't want to, they have a team there that will build your website for you for $499. Anybody who does websites anywhere else can tell you that is a price you will not get anywhere else. This is crazy easy, super customizable. pub-site.com. It's everything
made by complete strangers. The people who made PubSite are unknowns to us.
That is not true. FSB Associates is a book publicity firm that's been in the business for 25 years. They are the best people to promote authors and books. They know what you need on your website, and they've put it all in here. So go get it. pub-site.com.
Look, just because Tom Clancy uses them doesn't mean you have to use them. Just because Robin Cook uses them doesn't mean Robin Cook knows any better than you. pub-site.com.
Len Joy, award-winning sports fiction author Len Joy, who is in fact here in the comments, also uses them.
Listen to this. Person of the Day. They're the sponsor of Person of the Day, which is an apple specifically for Seth Goldman. It's not a...
Love it.
Person of the Day.
What's with the banana?
Oh, we don't even want to... Let's not even answer that just because. I want to get Malik Khalid out here because I need to stretch. Feeling a little something.
Okay, then.
Feeling a little something.
So Bob will catch you up, Deb.
Bob will catch you up, Deb.
I'll catch you up.
Malik, how are you?
Oh, he's muted. Hold on, let's unmute Malik so we can hear. That would be good. Do you think?
I think is it working?
Oh, he chose to mute himself. There we go. Hello.
Nope. Oh, no, still muted.
I hear you. I don't know what happened. We're gonna have to. This will be the miming show. So
I don't speak sign language. I could do what, and I could do stupid.
Can you hear us?
You hear us though, right?
Yeah, we don't hear you.
You're gonna refresh, maybe.
Yeah, refresh. All right. Back. So I can tell you, I found Malik Khalid through Nikki Porcher.
Oh,
Founder
another
of
Nick.
Black for Black Woman. Yes, because I wanted an activewear like yoga person, and she sent us Malik because he had just done, and he'll talk about this, but he had just done a class in cooperation with I can't remember the name of it now. He had just done a class for equality for it's called Bend Toward Justice. Yeah, I was trying to think about it with the Human Rights Campaign.
Let's try it again.
Okay, can we hear you now?
Hey.
Yes, we can. What had you just done that we found out about you from, Nikki?
Oh, the Human Rights Campaign. Good morning. I was just talking about the class you did. Can you hear us now? Oh no, Malik.
It was working so well for a minute.
It was totally fine to begin with. This happens, every time a yogi calls in.
Is that better?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Well, this is a problem.
Hey, look, his website.
Yay! So what I love about this brand, and you can, if Malik gets his sound working, he can tell you about it, but the whole point of it is to represent people of color, LGBTQ people, and to show that yoga is more inclusive than just what you typically see, which is like suburban white moms like myself doing yoga. Although I mentioned I'm terrible at it. Did I mention that?
You did mention that you were terrible at it.
I am. I think it's because I lack patience. And so because I lack patience, I never make it to the point where I'm flexible enough for it to like work properly.
Malik, we're looking at the clothing line, but this is also a yoga practice. And can you tell us just a little bit about what your practice is based on? Where were kind of like your roots? Where did you get your foundations before you branched off and made your own version?
Yeah. So I started yoga. I've been in business development, working in B2B sales and marketing for the last 9 years. And so managing large sales teams, doing a lot of traveling, lots of key accounts, just stuff like that. And so I was about 50 pounds heavier than what I am now, 240 pounds, and at risk for pre-hypertension, went to the doctor, was devastated by the news. And so I had one of my reports was actually practicing heated power vinyasa, which is this vigorous athletic flow, and it's heated and you're sweating, and it's nothing what you would expect. So I went to that class, and they kicked my ass. It was like an out of body experience. But I felt so fulfilled when the class was over. I felt challenged. And so after that, I continued to go to that studio every day for 6 months. 6 months later, I lost the weight. I felt good. I felt just super affirmed. And then immediately the next month would have been January 2018. I started my own, I started a yoga teacher training. I trained for 5 months. I graduated my training in May of 2018. And since then, I've taught over 3,000 people yoga. Since then, I've become a Lifeform Yoga ambassador, which is the world's best yoga mat. They sponsor me. I've just had so many amazing opportunities through yoga. I taught a class last month for GLAAD, which is the largest queer media company. I got to collaborate with the Human Rights Campaign on a fundraiser for the 2020 election. And then ultimately, my yoga practice and my yoga just experience led me to want to really put my money where my mouth was and completely submit to the practice, and to ensuring that everyone is seen, and that it's not a practice that has a limited view of who can access it and who can be a part of it. And so that led me to Amador Yoga, which Amador translates to lover from its Spanish origin. And so lover of yoga, Amador Yoga. And so we're simply playing on what do you love and why do you love it? And so throughout that, I wanted to make sure that clothing wasn't something that would create more barriers for us, especially around design and around fit. And so I wanted to make sure it was gender neutral, and I wanted to make sure that there was a space for Blackness specifically, because when you look at yoga, it is often exactly what you said earlier, Kerry. You know, there's a white woman, she's normally maybe skinny, And that's just doesn't reflect the fullness of the practice. And so I thought that if we started with what you put on your body, you would have a much better relationship with seeing yourself in the practice. If we used Black and brown models, that would be reinforced. I've been able to go out and recruit 13 amazing ambassadors that have helped me grow the brand. With these 13 people collectively, we have like a 3 million people reach with us together, that we've been able to collectively use our power. I was on the cover of Wussy magazine when we launched.
Wow.
I took out an ad in Creative Loafing. I got in the Peach magazine. We're on the cover of that. So for us only to be in business for the last 9 months, I've really been super focused on press, super focused on fit, on design, and really spearheading this effort to ensure that there's something for people to look at that reflects them later on down the line.
You never want to just like chuck it all and go back to B2B sales?
Well, I quit my B2B sales job in January of this year. And then 2 months later, the quarantine started. So we're talking about a complete, talk about the rug being pulled from under me, right? The rug was snatched. I had to downsize. I was living in a high rise in Atlanta. I moved out of that place and just had to completely just restructure my life. And to answer your question, Kerry, yes, I am going back to B2B sales. I have a few job offers on the line right now. And I'm making that decision to go back to work so I can actually put that money back into the business. Right. So I can have that firm ground that I had before and really use that to power my passion, to power my dream.
Deb says, I need yoga because it helps with patience.
It does. Yoga does help with patience. It helps with patience. It helps with mindfulness. It helps with obviously physical and spiritual health. So it's really a 360 practice.
I'm excited that you made that choice.
It doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter your weight, the way you look, the size. Yoga is a truly accessible practice. There are so many portions of the practice that anyone can get into, whether it's chair yoga, whether it's yoga in the pool, whether it's yoga sitting on your sofa. That's
the kind I would want.
Yeah, this vehicle of yoga is for everyone.
I want to talk a minute about this decision, because I think it's a big decision. And Carol said, are you going to keep it as a side hustle? And I think it's still your primary job. You're just funding it with some B2B work right now.
That's all. So yoga and Amador and the podcast that I host is my primary job. Right. I'm just simply funding it with a 40-hour commitment. I found the most fulfillment in this work that I've been doing, and the most joy. So no, you're completely right, Chris. This will be my bread and butter for the rest of my time.
I love it. And only because sometimes people feel that, and I don't know if you did or didn't, maybe you can speak to this. People feel that defeated feeling, shame, guilt, but you're a strong person. You said, this is what yoga is. Yeah. Yoga says the world just gave me something. I've got to do something with it right now. This is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to portray that. I am a guy running his business and funded by this B2B company.
Yes, but I should point out that yesterday we had this mother-daughter team from Use Hair Care, all natural hair care products for all different hair textures and stuff. And they mentioned that during the pandemic, there have been a lot of grants available, especially for like people of color owned businesses and stuff. So maybe look into those too. I mean, I'm not saying obviously.
There have been grants. I've applied for a few of them. And one thing that I've run into with grant work and with getting federal funding is they really look at the newness of the business. And I found struggles with getting approved for grants because of how new the business is, because of just those
long do they want? What age of business are they looking for?
A couple of years.
You know what? And when they're judging the grants, they don't tell you that specific criteria. I know I applied for 2 and didn't get either one that I applied for over the summer. So I know they're out there. I'm just going to continue to look and see if I qualify.
Your timing on downsizing was perfect too.
My gosh, you guys, my timing on downsizing was spot on. It was perfect. It was honestly a really great decision because it gave me perspective on the value of $1. It really did. You know, I'm not gonna say I was a frivolous person before, but I definitely spent a lot more freely. It's this time has definitely centered me, and it's been an equalizer for me, and it's just definitely given me a lot of perspective on what's important and why it's important for me,
I'm gonna
and
buy
also
some of your
what it takes to make it happen.
Fewer pumpkin spice lattes, fewer UGG boots. I get it.
That we see each other.
See, I don't care at all about brands except for Johnny Cupcakes. I will die on that hill. I'm buying those designer t-shirts, and I don't care what I have to not eat to afford them. So, you know, but I can, other than that, I can totally get it.
Yeah.
Whole downsizing. But I'll be downsizing in my Johnny Cupcakes t-shirts.
Talk to me a little bit about the old Showdown hoodie, because I'm seeing a bullfighter scenario, and you know, I don't usually see a whole lot of bullfighting in yoga, so
Yeah. So this collection that you're looking at, this was our inaugural full collection, and this is going to be the Matador collection, and what you're looking at is the confrontation between the bull and the matador. And the bull is representing life, chaotic, coming at you, raging, and it's just full force with chaos. And then we have this matador who's trained, he's skilled, they're agile, and it's really reflecting how in life we have to be the matador consistently. We have to be on top of our game. We have to make sure that we are, you know, sharpening our tools so that when life does come at us chaotic, raging like the bull, we can actually have the tools to actively and effectively get through that situation. And so I think that's reinforced in the yoga practice with the idea of be comfortable being uncomfortable. You know, we have to accept the fact that transition in life is going to happen, but we have to submit to that work and submit to being uncomfortable, and really accept that the uncomfortableness will subside with the breath, with the work. And so that's what we see with that hoodie, this bullfight, and just playing with the juxtaposition of chaos and the softness and the tranquility of being a matador and having to be in that ring and fight for your life and come out on top.
You know, when you're 14 and you're writing down, like, you know, pretend boyfriends in your notebook and writing little hearts and forever on it. How long have you been working on the Amador thing? Like when you were like in between sales calls and stuff?
Wow. So the idea first came to me in 2014. I had, I was, one of my colleagues, her last name was Amador. Her name was Alexis Amador. And I loved her last name. It just sounded so
exotic,
so sonic,
very dramatic.
It sounded very sonic. I was like, what is that? And she told me what it meant, and so I just sat on it since then. And I think I made one design in 2014, and it was Amador equals lover, just kind of playing with what Amador actually means. And then I sat on it for many years, and then December 2019, I was at home. I took a month off work just to kind of chill for the holiday season. And during that month, so many things just became apparent to me. One, that yoga and podcasting and was my thing I should be doing. I have a voice and people need to hear my perspective, and I have an interesting story. And that I found like a lot of conviction around that in that month, having time to myself. And so then I just pushed it forward. So between 2014 and 2019, I think that was that incubation time where I was building that confidence in myself to believe that I could do it, to get clear about the goals and what it would take to make that happen. And then also coming up with a real plan, you know, using that BDB experience with brand identity and what's the sales pitch, and why are we saying this, who are we saying this for, you know, how do you write a press release, how do you get press, how do you email editors and ask them to write about you. You know, I had time to go out and build a B2B wholesale program, so I was able to get my brand in the largest yoga studio in Georgia is called Fuel Hot Yoga. They have over 400 students, and they have a huge reach nationally. And I got my product in that yoga studio, and they stock it, and they're on their third restock. And so it's like just seeing things come to fruition by using the information that I had and asking for help.
You're built, so you're taking the skills that you have from these other contexts and putting them to use to make your dream
Absolutely.
happen. Yeah, I love it.
I've realized that everything that I've done has prepared me for these moments.
And it does not make sense while you're doing it.
No.
Looking back, that's what they say. You would have to look back for it to make sense.
Now, Malik Khalid isn't a name people know yet, but Atlanta has just brought so many people forward. I mean, you've got. I'm a music guy and a big fan of hip hop since the '80s. So you got Ludacris there, you got Childish Gambino, and I know you're probably not a rap guy, but you got Jermaine Dupri.
I love rap.
You don't know.
Listen,
yeah, I was gonna say.
I grew up. Let's be clear. I grew up in East Atlanta. I grew up in Decatur. I grew up. So I came up listening to Gucci Mane, to Young Jeezy. To
that's right, because you're young.
Outkast.
You like those guys.
Yeah. You're young.
I love those guys.
You're a kid. You like all those mumbly boys. To me, it stops and ends at Luda and Outkast. I mean, we could agree on that.
Judging. You're not here to judge. No.
And out comes the yellow card for Brogan, and Gorgone just says, "You're going down, my friend." Kaboom!
Son of a. We got to bring Seth Goldman back out. Anyway, I'm saying you're a big brand that's going to be right along those lines. When people think Atlanta, they're going to think Malik Khalid. So, Seth, I got a question. You just heard that story.
Yeah.
You hear a little bit about what it's like to be, at the start of a gig. Now that I run 85 companies now, is it fun to just reimagine what it's like to launch a brand like that?
That's why I went and did it. Yeah, it is. It's that, every little victory you just enjoy so much, and just like Malik mentioned, that yoga studio, getting that first order and the first reorder. We in fact, we just got our first order of mushroom jerky from a local hardware store.
Wow.
I want to go deliver that. I'm going to go put that. I want to meet the person who ordered it. I want to stock the shelf, and ideally, like with Honest Tea, you get to tens of thousands of stores carrying it, but the first ones are always the most poignant because they're the ones who took that leap of faith to believe in you.
You got to open up some bags and just be standing there and be like, "Hey, you want to try some?" Like one of those old-fashioned end cap dudes with samples.
Totally.
Well, you both have that in common too. You both know that you don't wait for someone to tap you on the shoulder. The permission fairy does not come down.
No. I was in I was in an interview yesterday to be a VP of sales for this company, and they were talking about how do you inspire salespeople to go out and get it, and I said, well, the same way I got this interview, I reached out to you directly, and I went to you and I said, hey, I want this job, you need to talk to me, and that's how you do it. You can't wait for someone to tap. You have to be a go-getter in this industry, because what I've learned is that there's so many people that are watching me that I don't even know. And then at the last minute, they'll say, hey, Malik, I've been watching you do this for 6 months or for a year. I love this, and let's collaborate in this way. So I found that a lot of the jobs I've been booking lately have just come from the pre-work that I've already done.
So you laid the groundwork. And now it's coming to fruition. Yeah, but I love what you're saying. I've always thought about that quote. What is it? The prize will not be mailed to you. You have to win it. It's like, that's how things work. There's so many people that will see the success of others and think, well, I could do that. It's like, well, you could, but you didn't. Yeah. Because you're just complaining about other people succeeding.
That's a huge difference, Kerry. That the difference between thinking about it and doing it. It sounds, you just do it. But it's that leap is so important.
Make your own show, everybody. It's really easy with StreamYard.
Exactly. Plan, map, and do. You've got to do the do part, or the other two parts don't matter. Malik, I have an idea for, when you open the studio back up, you know what I think would be a delicious snack for someone who's finished doing all that yoga? I think maybe some mushroom jerky.
You know what? I think some mushroom jerky would be delicious. I've never had mushroom jerky before. I've had beef jerky once or twice, but I would love to try this vegan option.
Yeah, it's really fun.
What if you're not into jerky, generally? Should they give this a whirl anyway?
It's just delicious. It's just think about sort of enjoying a piece of meat that you get to really savor. It's like that. just with mushrooms.
The word jerky is a Lakota word for you're going to chew it a lot more than other things.
That's right. Yeah, well, it is that texture.
Yep. Okay. So it's time. We got to do our person of the day. Then we're going to ask our backpack question. So remember, I'm going to ask you what goes in your backpack. It could be physical. It could be metaphorical. There's been some great questions. Great answers in the past. So you have to live up to it. All right. I'm going to do a different person of the day today. I know Michelle just got one the other day, but there's a reason Michelle's getting this particular person of the day. And that is because she turned us all on to Chloe's interview last night that a bunch of us might have not seen if we didn't.
Chloe Forbes-Kinlan, Squarespace designer extraordinaire from Scotland and a backpacker regular to the show. We love her.
And Michelle
and
is
we
really,
would have missed it because she didn't promote herself.
She didn't promote herself. What are we even thinking about?
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
That is Michelle. All right, that's it. We got one last thing to do. Then we can all get out of here and do something. Eat some jerky, do some stretches, get hot. What goes in your backpack? This is the question. And I'll start with Seth. Seth, what's going to go in your backpack? Something physical, something metaphorical?
Yeah, for me, it's got to be a positive attitude. Like that is that sense of optimism that you can create something, that whatever is happening now, there's going to be something better ahead. And just that ability to continually refresh that. For me, there's nothing more valuable in life. You know, we all go, especially now, going through really tough times, stressful times, painful times, or people we know are going through that. And so just that positive, optimistic view that there's going to be a better world ahead and working toward it.
It's a giant one. Malik Khalid, what do we have? What goes in that backpack?
Wow. Well, literally, I use my backpack for grocery shopping.
Nice.
Is that what we call it? Because I just put stuff in and run away.
To refuse plastic waste, and so whenever I go to the grocery store, I take my book bag with me, and I tell myself, if it can't fit in this book bag, I can't take it home. And it's helped me with being really specific about what I'm consuming and how much I'm consuming, and also cooking specifically for the week. You know, and not being wasteful. So what goes in my backpack is groceries. But I think if we're talking about you know, a mindful tip, I would just say joy. Joy is something that people generally relate to happiness, and happiness like that destination. But joy is something that we can have at any moment. We just close our eyes and think about something that makes us happy, or that sparks some type of elation for us. And so I think joy is in my backpack, you know, and remembering the memories, remembering the things that have brought me peace in the past, and then trying to bring that up to soothe whatever's happening for me.
Like a Patronus.
Think
about your happiest memory.
Yeah.
Not everybody read all Harry Potter, by the way. Just
what?
FYI.
That's ridiculous. Hi, Rex. The sun will come out tomorrow.
If Rex had made that comment just a wee bit earlier,
I love that it came from LinkedIn. That's what I like about it. Like from LinkedIn.
Well, Rex, you know, Rex can go back and watch some of this episode. I know he shows up late sometimes because he's on the other coast. But this is a particularly good episode for you, Rex, because you've always been on the cusp of wanting to get that new business up and running. This is the one to get you over the top.
Joy, jerky, and groceries.
Joy,
jerky, and groceries. I like that.
I'm into it. You know, my grandmother once tried one of those chair yoga things, very late 80s. It was, you know, yoga just wasn't so popular back then. And the thing was, the way we motivated her to do it